Welcome back to MotorcycleDen, and tonight we are going to do a review of our 2018 Harley Davidson Ultra Limited. We are going to give you a rider and passenger point of view, and hopefully we can clear up some questions you might have.
We've had this for 10 months. How many miles?
10 months, and we have 8327. Well, we was going to do this sitting at the house, but we figured you might enjoy us riding.
Not really. It got up to 55, and he's like, let's go.
Well, you know,
that's what happened.
That kind of influenced it a little bit, too. We're not going to go over stats and, you know, a lot of the things that you can, you know, easily find out on Harley's website.
And really, you learn more about a bike from somebody else riding it than you do with the stats, I think.
Well, right, yeah.
You know what I mean? You get more of how the bike feels, how it handles, what you like if you travel versus a day trip versus a 2-hour evening trip, you know.
And we'll say we do a fair amount of trips, whether it be weekend or week long. Our longest trip on this has been what, 4.5 days, 5 days, something like that, and several weekend trips.
Well, a couple of 3.5 day trips.
Yeah.
Like we'd leave after work on Thursday, come back Sunday night.
Give you an idea what kind of riding we do, and if we're out on a Saturday, I mean, we ride somewhere between 300 and 450 usually. Let's get started. This has a trip meter button. Cycles through your mileage. Now hopefully you can see this, and it's right there. It's where the mileage is. It's got a gear indicator. The trip meters has a decimal point, which my old eyes, it's difficult to see. Like that's 10.6. So we've been on the bike for 10.6 miles. There is a decimal point there, and I don't know if this GoPro will pick it up. But I will say, you know, it's not easy to see it at a glance. You've got 2 trip meters. Tells you how many miles remaining, and then your actual odometer. I do want to mention everything is laid out really well. I mean, things are easily accessible. I mean, you got your turn signals, and they are self-canceling turn signals, which and one on each handlebar, you know, which took me a while to get used to because, well, I've never rode Harleys before. I'm gonna beep the horn here for you guys. And that's it. It could be louder, honestly. You know,
you want the louder one.
I want a louder horn. It's decent, but in my opinion, it's not loud enough. You know, you got your bright lights, and if it's getting dark on us, I'll show you that later. I honestly do not care for the bright lights on here, but with the headlight and the 2 auxiliary lights, I mean, it really lights it up well, and a lot of people get, you know, brighter lights, and that's, you know, hey, if that's what you want. But I'm happy with the stock lights. They're better than what we had. The lighting, I think, is great. I think the front headlights and the auxiliary lights are LED. It's got a light on the fender, which is it's not LED, but it does have some LEDs on the trunk. The brake light isn't LED either, I don't believe. Which, you know, a lot of people swapped them out for something brighter. I guess I should slow down. We are coming into town here. The gauges, I want to mention that. I mean, when it's starting to get dark or an overcast day, I mean, they look great. But on a sunny, bright day, they are a little bit difficult to pick out some of, you know, just, they're a little difficult to see. Not bad, and I do like how they look. I mean, they do look good, but I'd like something with maybe a little bit more contrast, you know, to show up in the sun. The sound system sounds okay, and you can hear it on the highway, but you're pushing it.
You gotta turn it up.
You gotta turn it up, and the speaker. And we wear earplugs, so I mean, we can still hear it, but some people say they can't at highway speeds, and maybe they don't wear earplugs or a full face helmet. Maybe that's the difference. You're at the point of distorting the speakers. So
I can feel the vibration when they're loud, even though I'm not really touching them. You know what I mean? But because of the backrest, I can feel vibration when they're real loud.
So
I mean, not bothersome, but I can't feel it.
But it's decent sounding. So let's see if we can.
No, we're giving it away. Here we go. What'd you win? Hi, my name's Greg. I want a year's supply of gas.
So that might give you an idea of what it sounds like. I mean,
It was really
we're almost all the way up, 3 bars from it,
graduated high school. I was 18
maxed out, and we're doing 50 miles an hour.
From his freshman year at Purdue.
You can use joysticks. Like if I push this left one in, it brings up the home menu. You have a favorite spot. You got your tuner button, navigation, your setup, and communication there. I mean, you can scroll over with the right joystick. We'll go down to navigation. Let you, you got your points of interest, where to, recents, emergency, the Harley dealerships, all of them, and maps. And we'll click on map. Now, one thing I don't care for is it is a little bit slow loading up. Now, I'm sure the newer one's probably a lot faster. So, which would be nice, because it does take a little bit of time. But yeah, it's not horrible. We'll talk about the airflow a little bit on this bike. The windshield, first off, I'm 5'10", probably like a 31-inch inseam, give or take. I don't know. Wear 32 length pants, so. And we ride double probably 90% of the time. I mean, it does a decent job. I mean, once in a while it gets some buffeting. The air hits the very top of my helmet. Just hits the top of it. So that gives you an idea. Stay on your side. And so I mean, I've thought about getting a taller windshield, but it's really not bad. It does a pretty good job. Now I will say this: the vent that they installed in the fairing on the Rushmore project, I don't think I would care for this bike without that vent, unless I had a taller windshield, because I mean, it makes a world of difference. I mean, we ride with this thing open all the time, even in the rain, and there's very little rain gets in there. I mean, if it's pouring down, well, you're pretty much, rain's getting anywhere anyway. So, but I mean, I have shut it before, but you get buffeting. Like that's shut, and I feel the air hitting down probably 2 inches lower. It's just more turbulence in the cockpit. And a lot of people talk about how hot these bikes run, and they run a little bit warm. But honestly, I think Harley's done a great job with the airflow. I mean, we've rode 90-something degree days, and you're warm. Obviously, you're going to be, but it's not been horrible. I mean, you feel.
As long as you're moving, it's fine.
Right. I mean, you feel a little bit of heat. I've been always pretty comfortable, and Mrs. Den, I think, has been pretty comfortable as far as the airflow and the heat off the bike.
It comes around, depending on how I'm sitting. If I'm kind of chilling back, leaning against the tour-pak, or if I'm sitting up, I feel it like in my arms, and I'll feel it like on the outsides of my legs. So what it is coming around him, hitting me. But it's not bad. I mean, it's 85, you love it. And if it's 40, you don't like it. You know what I mean? So, but that's what you have heating gear for.
There you go.
But it's not, I mean, it doesn't bounce my head around at all. Because I sit taller than him. If I sit straight, I can see over his helmet. But if I'm kind of squished down, my eyes are like right where his vent fix is on his helmet.
Now, she's 5'4", but she's taller bodied. Her body length is probably almost as long as mine. I mean, that gives you a good idea there of the airflow. Something that may help with the heat is this is I think they call it the twin cooled or something, I don't know, where the cooling fans are in the lowers down here. So you do lose storage space. There's not really storage space in these lowers, and you can't remove them. Now, they did offer a model that wasn't cooled. I mean, this is just the top end, I think, is cooled. But anyways, so you do have storage in the ones that don't have the fans in there, and you can remove those. These you cannot, which, you know, maybe that's why the bike runs a little cooler, or it seems like it does. I don't know.
It does. The bike does not seem hot. I
No.
don't think at all when you ride it.
I mean, if there's
if it's a hot day, you get the heat of the day.
right.
But I mean, it is like standing next to, you know what I mean? Like if you had a car sit there for a little bit and then go stand by the engine, you're going to feel some heat. But it's nothing hot.
I mean,
Nothing that's bothered me, and I got short ankle motorcycle boots on. You know what I mean? I don't like the tall ones.
yeah.
It
So,
don't bother me.
I mean, these lowers do have a vent in them, and now if it's hot and the vent's closed, I feel it. You know, I can feel that on my lower legs and coming up my thighs area and stuff. But you open the vents, and I mean, Harley's done a great job. It just blows that heat right on back. So it's not an issue, in my opinion.
And we leave them open unless it's cold.
Right, like today, it's oh, here's an info button on this right turn signal that push it the opposite way. It's 50 right now, but the sun's down, so I mean it's cool. So, anyways, speaking of cool, this bike does come with heated grips. I got it on 2 right now, and I got fairly thin gloves on, but my hands get cold easy. But I love these heated grips. They are awesome. Man, if it breaks, I'm getting it fixed because it does a great job.
So now every bike has to have it. Every bike here on out.
Yeah, yes, I would say so. So, because I love having it, and I mean, it really does great. It goes to 6, and usually I'm on 2, maybe 3.
I'll say you've never been higher than 3.
Well, once when it was like 30s, low 30s, I think I had it on 4 or something. Maybe 5, I forget, but I do use heated gloves also. Speaking of heated gear, which we don't plug into this, I mean we've ran off the battery, but there's a power outlet up in the fairing, and I'll show you guys where it's located. And then there's also a power outlet in the trunk, and that's one of the main reasons why we bought this is for storage. You know, speaking of the trunk, and 2 helmets I think fit in there, don't they? Both our helmets.
Yeah.
So we got full face helmets. Both of them fit in there. I mean, it's a big trunk. I don't know the capacities.
Because you have a Qwest, and mine's an RF 1100.
1200.
1200.
Yeah.
So you can tell. I mean, the size of it.
There's quite a bit of room, and then the saddlebags are nice. 1 finger opening. The thing I do not like about the saddlebags, and I guess they had some issues with the quick releases that they had in previous years, but I do not like you got 2 little screw handles that you just turn, screw in, and they go in easy and come out easy, but it's awkward is all. It seems awkward to me. So I'll just say that, you know, just getting them on and off the lid, I don't know. I don't know if there's any way around it, but just the removal of them. But where you adjust the shocks at are behind the left saddlebag. It's just a screw knob. I mean, it's just easy to turn it in or out. And they give you a little chart with how much weight, you know, you got on the bike. But you got to take the saddlebag off, so it's no quick adjustment, you know. It's easy, you know, once you get the bag off, and it's not a difficult process. It's just the 2 screws. But speaking of taking the saddlebag off, I was doing it yesterday and put a chip in the paint. But not big, but enough to irritate me. So I'm gonna have to get some touch-up paint. But I mean, Harley does have nice paint. You know, they do a good job with their fit and finish on their bikes are nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful. The color is absolutely gorgeous.
I mean,
we have wicked red, twisted cherry.
Yeah, it's a beautiful bike.
What about the weight of the bike?
Yeah, I think it's like 908 pounds. And
How does it feel though?
I'm just going to throw this out for comparison because I've sat on a Gullwing and I've sat on Roadmaster and this. Those are the three big bikes I've sat on, and the Gullwing is, to me, easily the most top heavy. Some people feel otherwise, but then this one, and then the Roadmaster. And they all are close in weight. This is not bad. Like I said, I'm 5'10". I mean, this is not the low. This is just regular limited. And I can easily reach the ground. I mean, some people say that they struggle with that. And I mean, if you're shorter, you're obviously going to. But I can easily reach the ground. It's not, I can flat foot it and stand up even off the seat. But the bike fits me great. Oh, let's get back to the weight. It's not bad at all. I mean, you picking it up off the side stand, you feel it a little bit. But there are tricks to getting it up a lot easier. If you turn your handlebars all the way to the right and pick it up, it comes up easy. You don't even hardly feel the weight. Slow speed in parking lots and stuff, you feel the weight some. But it's not bad. And once you get going, I mean, it's not bad at all. I mean, the bike it handles great for a bike of this size. I mean, you can feel it when you start pushing it a little bit in corners. Especially, I mean, like I said, we ride two up 90% of the time. So I'm sure solo, it's probably a lot better. But, with two up, I mean, you do feel it a little bit. But, I mean, I don't ride real aggressive anyways, but especially with her on the back. But it does handle well, in my opinion. I mean, we coming from an FJR, which is a completely different style bike. I don't think it handles as well as the FJR, but I mean, it handles well enough for us. I mean, for the type of riding we do. So, and we needed the storage, so that's why we wound up switching to this. But
we plan on doing a lot of traveling on it.
Yeah, well, and hopefully it holds up. I'd at least like to get 80,000 out of this bike, at least 80,000 miles. So.
About the takeoff.
The takeoff?
When you're stopped at the bike, and you take off.
Well, that's one thing. Is this clutch? I was not used to this at all. I mean, it catches like when it's almost all the way out, and that's how it was designed. I mean, now that I'm used to it, I like it, and it's really it's easy to control, especially at slow speeds. And but it took me forever to get used to that clutch. I mean, it catches almost all the way out, and it's weird. It's just I was not used to that, so it took me a little bit of time. It's got decent pickup, and I mean, yeah, I definitely want to add probably a stage 2 to it. But that's down the road. That brings up another point, and that's exhaust. I mean, it don't sound bad. I mean, honestly, it gets a little deeper sound to it the longer we have it.
Yeah, it does.
So, I mean,
sounds better.
It sounds a lot better than it did brand new. But I still want something a little louder. Maybe a little bit deeper.
If you're going to have a Harley, you need to have the Harley sound.
Yeah, so, I mean,
So.
you can get by. I mean, obviously, you can get by with what's on there. It's not horrible sounding. And we'll get on it a little bit here coming off this stop sign and let you hear it.
Sorry.
That's the sound of the 107 Milwaukee 8. Performance-wise, I mean, like I said, we ride 2 up most of the time, and it feels a little slow to us, but I mean, it's decent. I mean, it's got decent pickup. I mean, in 6...
We were used to a faster bike.
Yeah, I
mean,
yeah, the FGR is a lot faster. But, I mean, in 6th gear, we've been on the highway, on steep hills, and it pulls them fine. I mean, you don't have to... I mean, we've been loaded,
Okay, traveling.
with even a bag on the trunk. Well, this comes with a rack on the trunk, so and we got a bag that fits that. And yeah, so I mean, it pulls it 6 gear fine. 2 up, so, I mean, the bike's got power. You know, I just, obviously, like most people, I want a little bit more. Actually, I want a lot more, but my pocketbook's saying a little more. The riding position on this bike, for me, is excellent. I mean, if you're 6 foot, you might feel a little cramped. I mean, maybe not even 6 foot. I mean, if you're probably like 6'2" or 3, you might feel a little cramped. I mean, I put highway pegs on it, as you can see. I mean, and my legs are slightly bent, but you can move them out even further, you know, to stretch out if you want. But I mean, it really makes it comfortable for me. But the floorboards are like, they got like, I don't know, springs or rubber isolators under them or something, and very comfortable. The seating position is great for me. I mean, your feet are out in front of you, and I will say the seat, I hated it when we first got the bike.
Yeah.
And I wanted another seat and was looking for another one, but you know, as miles started rolling on, we hit 5,000 miles, and I'm thinking, man, I'm not nearly as sore by the end of a 400-mile ride. I mean, at first it was killing me, but when we hit, and it may be different for everybody, but when we hit 5,000 miles, I mean, it felt like this seat broke in. I mean, it's not bad. You know, we can do a 400-mile day, 450 without really. I mean, you might be a little sore. Your body's going to be a little sore, you know, just from riding, you know. But, you know, a lot of people want taller handlebars. And honestly, I probably would be open to getting 2 inches taller bars, longer bars. You know, maybe bring them, that way I could bring them up and maybe tilt it back a little bit closer to me. Just a little. I think it might be a little more comfortable and less strain on my upper shoulders, because it does kind of feel like it's pulling me forward and down a little bit, where if I had the bars up and back a little bit, I think it'd be a lot more relaxing ride. I mean, it's comfortable now, but it feels like it's pulling me down. They're just a little too low for me. And if you're a lot taller, I could imagine it really feel like it is. So and most people get taller bars. I wish Harley would actually put a little bit taller bars on them. Oh, but what I was going to mention, that's one thing you can get as an accessory, is learning where all these buttons are. When you're riding at night, I mean, we've been on the bike 8,000 miles, and you know, I'm still not completely, it's not first nature, you know, first nature where buttons are on everything, because I don't use them all the time. But you can get
first nature.
I don't know. It's not
second nature.
It's not second nature. Yeah, it's not second nature. I thought
that's hilarious.
I thought that sounded weird.
I started to wait not to say anything, and I thought, no, I can't. I gotta say something.
I thought that don't sound right. Well, I thought, I don't know. I can't think of anything else. So.
That's funny. You made me laugh.
It would be nice to get, you know, those lit up, but I think I heard that somebody had some issues with them, a couple people or something. Maybe more than that, I don't know. But I read about some issues with them. That's nothing to do with the bike. That's just me. But the seating position, I mean, I love it. For Mrs. Den, you know, I can't get much out of her about that, but I guess she likes it.
Yeah, I like it. At first, when we first got the bike, the seat pushed me forward, like into him. I didn't like that. I constantly felt like I was falling forward and felt like I had to constantly put pressure on my feet to keep me back, especially when he was stopping. But now, you know, now that we have the seat broke in, now it's just comfortable. Now I don't have an issue. Also, tour-pak was scooted all the way back. Well, we didn't realize that. And
yeah.
There was all kinds of room in between us.
I did look, and I thought, well, that thing's all the way forward. And then I started looking, I thought, man, this can't be right. So I looked the second time, a little closer, And yeah, it was all the way back.
Yeah.
And it moves, and I'll show you. There's slots under there very easily. Just four nuts you loosen up. You can slide a tour-pak forward or to wherever you need it, forward or back. It's like probably at least an inch, maybe a little over adjustment.
Seems like it's farther than that.
It might be a little more, but it don't take much on a bike to feel like a huge change.
Because I like it, this is all the way forward, right?
Yeah.
This is all the way forward, this is the way I like it.
And she's
My legs are touching.
And she's 5'4" with short legs, just as a reminder.
Except for when it was all the way back, there was way too much room in between us. I didn't like that. I felt like I was disconnected from him. And but then once he moved it, then it wasn't bad at all. Now, now I'm real comfortable with it. Also, the foot peg or the foot floorboard.
Yeah.
When you're sitting on the bike, it's a good seating position. Your feet are underneath like your knees.
Let me interject real quick.
Okay.
They are adjustable. They're all the way up for her. I don't know if there's one or two more. There might be two more positions that they can be lowered.
Yeah, there's no way I would be lowered. Except for when you get on and off, he gets on first, and then I'll get on. So I'm not tall. Like, if I'm standing next to the bike, the seat is higher than my hips. I'm not tall at all. So my legs are pretty short. So I can't just swing my leg up and over there. It's not going to happen. So I step on the floor peg or floorboard, put my hand on his shoulder, hand on the trunk. That's how I get on. But when you're doing that, every other bike that he's had, it was always a peg. Your foot peg was underneath the seat. So you can step on that and go right up and over. This is like my feet are underneath his butt, which is, when you're sitting, it's a nice seating position, but getting on and off, I don't like it, because then when I go to get off, I can't just slide off. I have to kind of lean forward to stand up on the peg to get my foot back off, and so I'm kind of all climbing on his back kind of thing. So I don't like that, but I have figured out, like I step on the very back part of the footboard and then get on up and over. The backrest, pretty comfy. It does get hot once it gets like mid-80s, but all you gotta do is I just sit up straight and lean forward a little bit and let the air flow, and then I can move. You know what I mean? I kind of wiggle around anyway on the bike a little bit, just to get some air, different locations or whatever. Like the wind, very seldom do I get like a lot of wind movement unless it's a windy day or behind these semis on the interstate. But you'll go on around them unless that happens, and you get the wind turbulence. Then it'll shake my head around, but it's not bad. Except like right now, I can feel it on my outer arm and on my thighs and on my shins, but my head isn't moving around at all. No, I like to, now my face is closed, but I do like it open when we ride. And you get a little air movement, but I like that. The footboard, even when he gets on the bike, I don't feel any vibration. I don't feel any vibration in the seat when he gets on it. If he revs it up or anything, I don't feel any vibration. I don't feel it in the footboard. He's gotten it on hard to get around somebody before, and I felt a slight amount, but not much. But I do wear motorcycle boots. I don't wear just like normal shoes. So they do have, the rubber soles on the bottom. So maybe that makes a big difference with it. I mean, you feel the bike moving, but nothing, it's not like in a car. You're going to feel the little bit of the texture of the road in the car. Nothing bothersome. At least for me, it's nothing bothersome.
I mean, Harley's done a really good job with that, I think,
Yeah,
they've done a great job with the comfort aspect of this bike. I mean, it is their touring bike, so...
And they should.
Yeah. And everybody's probably not going to agree. I mean, this is our opinion. This isn't fact. Some of it is, but, a lot of it's just our opinion and how we feel about the bike. Now,
Well, too, it's going to feel different if you weigh less, if you weigh more, if you're taller, if you're shorter.
right.
You know what I mean? So,
I will say, like, I mean, it's 48 degrees, no sun out, and you know, that air comes right in through here and hits my knees, and they're froze. But you know, I don't have. I got some like Under Armour on under these, and they're kind of thick pants. But you can get, I think, some other wind deflectors that will, I think, help with that. But I mean, it has wind deflectors here for, like, you know, to move the air, especially in the summertime. You can get more air, which they work pretty nice. But I wanted to mention to you the cruise control on this. It's electronic cruise control, just like in a car, and it works great. Honestly, I think it works better than in cars, at least some cars. You know, some high-end cars may have it down pretty good, but yeah.
We buy high-end motorcycles, not high-end cars.
Yeah. Yeah, our cars aren't high-end.
Gotta have your priorities straight here.
We have a cheap car and a more expensive motorcycle. So, hey, but that's just the way it goes.
That's kind of sad, you know what I mean? Because you're in the car more than you're on the bike.
No, it's not sad. I think that's the thing to do. Myself, but, you know...
Apparently, because that's what we did.
All this has the heel toe shifter. You can remove the heel shifter part, which a lot of people do. And I will say, I wish it was like an inch longer, because where I comfortably sit, it pushes my left foot forward a little bit further than my right. You know, it takes up some real estate on the floorboard, basically. Why they did that, I don't understand why they. I mean, you can buy one. I don't know from them, but you can buy one that's a little longer, but it's like 2 inches. And I really don't want one 2 inches longer. I want one that's like an inch, maybe an inch and a half. But I love the heel toe shifter. I know a lot of guys don't like it. I just think it's way more comfortable not to have to use your toe, just stick it out. And I like it. It's way better now that I'm used to it. I'll show you this bright light here if I can find it. Oh, yeah, I don't want to blind anybody. But that's the bright light. I mean, it don't even look like a bright light. I mean, there's the regular lights. Now, it does, when you turn the bright light on, it turns the 2 auxiliary lights off. Here's without the auxiliary lights. I'll turn just them off. Makes a big difference. Flip these back on here. Yeah, it really makes a difference there. Now, you can get the computer flashed where those stay on. We haven't had that done yet, but I do want to get that done. We get it right around 43 miles a gallon is what we average on this, so which isn't bad. What's that?
2 up.
Yeah, 2 up. And I mean, so it's, you know,
We ride a lot of state routes.
I mean, this thing does soak up bumps really well.
Yeah. The other bike, boy, you had to go to the chiropractor after you hit a bump.
I mean, it's comfortable.
It was like, yeesh.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a lot more comfortable of a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I'm a lot more relaxed on it. You know, it's just a great seating position. You can kind of sit back and take everything in, you know. Not that we have, but if you would, you know, the FJR, you could run 90 miles an hour all day long. And you know, I think it's fine, you know, it does it well. You know, and people's going to be like, oh, I have. Well, I personally wouldn't run this 90 miles an hour on the interstate for long periods of time. I'm not saying it won't get up to it. I just wouldn't do it. I mean, 80, I think, is perfectly fine running at for a while, but you start...
Because of the V-twin?
Well, yeah, and, you know, at 80 miles an hour, I believe, is close to 3,000 RPMs. And that's in 6th gear. And they really start climbing quickly as you get over 80 miles an hour. There's a glove box right up here. hard to see. No, but it's right here. It's got a little USB plug. You can plug in like your phone or flash drive or something.
Music on your flash drive and put it in there and put it in the speakers.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that sometimes. We'll hook up a flash drive to it. So, yeah, I forgot to mention that. It's a little bitty glove box. You're not going to fit much in there. Oh, I wanted to mention, the mirrors on this bike, I mean, are very clear.
They don't bounce.
They,
you know, some of them bounce.
Yeah, I mean, when you're going, I mean, out of all the bikes I've had, they're the best looking mirrors. I'm impressed with it. And I do want to touch on this issue, and I said we would. You know, when we first got this bike, it was going through quite a bit of oil. And between our 1,000 mile and our 5,000 mile service. Now after the 5,000 mile service, it's using less and less. It hasn't used nearly as much. But we have a previous video, if you know, that goes into a little more detail about it. But since our 5,000 mile service, we haven't, like I said, we haven't used nearly as much. So it appears that it's getting better, and hopefully it is. So we may bring out another video about it down the road. Should put some more miles on it, but just I wanted to mention that because I said I would. So that's where we're at with that. Shoot a comment to me if you want to know a little more about it, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Now's the important question. If you had to do it all again, would you buy this bike again?
If I had to do it again, alleviating no mechanical issues, leaving that out because you know.
Knowing what you know now.
Knowing what I know now.
Would you buy it again?
I would buy it again. Yeah, I would buy it again. And
that's the question. You know what I mean? You can say yes or no. I like this. I hate that.
Right.
Whatever. But if you would buy it again, that's what speaks volumes.
I would buy it again. Well, guys, I know this was a long review, and I'm going to try to shorten it down. Probably cut some of it out, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed our review, and thanks for watching.
Give it 2 thumbs up.
What's that?
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. Yeah, if you liked it, please hit that like button, guys, and leave a comment. We'd like to hear your experience or your opinion. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll answer anything that we can. So until next time.